Derek here, rural investor. Disclaimer, right? This is not financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. Should always do your own due diligence and research before making any type of an investment, right? All right, with that out of the way, got some snow yesterday. I think we're approaching 0 degrees today. A little bit chilly after chores. Thought I'd come into the garage and warm up with a video. The plan was to use this video to start to explain the vehicles in which you have available to you to invest for income, right? My 4 favorites. And I was talking to people this week about investing, about income investing, investing for beginners. And what was sort of funny is I had a couple financial advisors in a couple of different platforms talk about income investing being risky, right? And the returns are maybe lower than if you just invested for growth. And that bringing this information to those who are living paycheck to paycheck, I quote, paycheck to paycheck, is inappropriate because they're unable to handle the financial discipline needed for this type of a strategy. And I just thought that was hogwash. And it was 2 different people within a matter of a couple of days. Somebody who lives paycheck to paycheck watches every penny. They watch the fluctuation in sales, on bread, on hot dog rolls, on how much milk that they can purchase, on the price of the activities that they put their kids in. Every day is about discipline and price, knowing that if they go over, they're going to be short somewhere else. The real eye-opening part was that the people who could benefit most from understanding spreads or cash flow positivity, delaying payments to generate income, were the very people that financial advisors are either ignoring or telling them that they don't have hope in this avenue, right? Another topic that came up was the fact that a lot of these holiday sales have been placed on credit cards. I think the number was 70% that I saw today. I don't know about everybody, but I know for me, Amazon was paying me 8% to ship my products 1 day later. I don't necessarily live paycheck to paycheck, but I'm certainly not going to turn down an 8% discount. My everyday credit card pays me 3%, right? You're talking about people living paycheck to paycheck. Here you go, you have a couple financial advisors saying they're not essentially intelligent enough to understand how to calculate a spread or to be disciplined enough to follow rules to make this money. And then you got, on the other hand, the internet talking about how credit cards are dangerous and the people living paycheck to paycheck are using them too much. And maybe to some people that is the case. But to those using them appropriately, it's 3 to 8% discount on top of the sales. And what I think I'm really going for here, what I think I'm really up against, is just flat out education and knowledge. I think for now decades you've been told to index your money, but only what you have. And about half the country doesn't have anything to index. So you look at since COVID, right? And many of us in the market are up 50%, 100% more. And those of us who aren't are really feeling the pain of inflation. And the biggest difference was being invested versus not being invested. And so if you have the ability to talk to people who are living paycheck to paycheck, who have the everyday skills of budgeting and the discipline to calculate the miles that they drive to be able to afford the gas, right? They have the discipline to understand if you take care of your credit score, credit card companies will give you money for free. They will offer you 0% turns. It will cost you nothing for a period of time, 6 months, 12 months, 18 months. They will give you free money. That isn't money that you should spend, right? That's the opportunity to pay for something later, right? And I'm not talking about gifts and extra things. I'm talking about your monthly budget could be paid 12 months from now for free. And for those who have nothing to invest, if you have a $2,000 monthly budget, all of a sudden $2,000 is now available for you to generate income. You can stick it into a government bond fund. You could stick it into realty income, ticker symbol O. It's called the monthly dividend company. It has paid dividends every month for 600 and some odd months. It's a fantastically stable investment. Is it the best investment? No. Is it going to return more than the S&P 500? Probably not. But will you have more money at the end of that 12-month period when you have to pay your bills? Highly likely. I did a little write-up about SPYI. It's the S&P 500 index. It is the same fund that people with money are told to just index their money for growth. People without money can take that $2,000. It pays 12.5% on the 500 biggest companies in the U.S. Wait the 12 months for this credit card to expire and make the payment and keep that 12%. And somebody goes, well, what happens if the market crashes 50%? Great question. What happens if the market crashes 50%, right? If you've taken care of your credit card score, right? You've made, say the distributions get half, almost 6.5% or so, right? And then you can get another 0% credit card and roll that over for a 3 to 5% fee while you're making the 6%. People tell you things are risky. They certainly are. But I think I'm an optimist, right? And if you look at over the long period of time in the stock market, it goes up and to the right. And so as long as you have time, which is why your credit score is important, you can just wait for the price to come back because you are generating income. A growth investor can't do that. They have to sell shares to pay that bill. They owe that $2,000 in 12 months, but now their investment is only worth $1,000 and they're not making anything. They're making a couple of bucks. You're making 6%. And so you have the income to cover those payments, and you now have the ability to take that card and roll it over because that income, right, is what gives you the space to do that. And so the longer you push that bill out, as long as you're not spending extra, the more money you can make. And I don't know how something could be any more important to somebody living paycheck to paycheck to know that they can take their regular budgeted monthly spend and push it out 12 months, for zero cost and make something like 10 to 12% on that money. So at the end of the day, you could be sitting with money whether the market's down 50% or whether the market's up 10. You will have that ability to roll those cards over and continue growing your income. And for that to be considered too risky to share with somebody who is very in tune with budgeting, to me was just something that I needed to talk about on this channel. And to not understand the use of credit cards, right? Maybe we could tackle that in a different video. You need to have discipline, right? You shouldn't be overspending. But if you can have that discipline, credit cards pay you to spend. Another way to steal 2, 3, 4, 5 on Black Friday, 8% from a company like Amazon. I'm never going to turn down an 8% discount. I don't walk up and say, please don't apply this discount to my goods when I go to a grocery store or to Walmart or to the whatever other retail store that you attend. I think if you get anything out of this, right, is that there are ways that are sort of being kept from you under the guise of risky, right? There are financial advisors, the people who should be teaching you these things, who have decided you're not worthy of it. And I'm not saying you should run out and invest without understanding and go open a new credit card and max it out. What I'm saying is these ways are well known. They're well established. They're just not taught to us in school. And the people who know them the best only consider people with money worthy of these tactics, right? And I think the people who would actually benefit the most would be the people who aren't involved in the market, the people who are living paycheck to paycheck and don't have time to sit or the interest to sit and think about 0% credit cards and cash flow and which funds to put them in. And so I think that's where, me coming out here trying to talk, just to give the ideas to Google, the place to research, the understanding that you can have $0 as long as you have a monthly budget. Take care of that credit score. Figure out ways to get it up. And once you do that, these credit card companies will give you a year, sometimes even 2 years, for 0%, for no cost to you. So you get to take that money that would go immediately out, and you get to invest it in something safe that provides positive cash flow, a positive return, and you can go as safe as government bonds, make 3-4%, right? It's money that you didn't have before, and those bond prices aren't going anywhere significant, right? It's money that you don't have now that you can make with money that you are spending right now simply by delaying it. And the only thing you need is a little bit of discipline, which you have if you're living paycheck to paycheck, and a little bit of understanding that this process exists, it's legitimate, and wealthy people in the market are doing this every day. Businesses are doing this every day. NVIDIA doesn't leave its billions of dollars in an interest account that doesn't accrue cash. Businesses have terms. They pay in 30 days, 45 days, 90 days. Why? So that their money can continue to earn interest after a service has been provided, right? They know that they have this cash and they're going to make these big payments to some of these companies, and they delay them because those pennies really do matter. And I think those pennies haven't been taught to the people who really need them the most. I don't live paycheck to paycheck, but I was for a period of time, right? I had built up a thing. It went through a divorce. I have to support my kids. Built a barn, started a business, and it left me with no money. As far as those financial advisors were concerned, I was somebody not worthy of investing, right? If I didn't know about this on my own, nobody was going to be there to show me the way, right? And I was able to borrow every single penny that I started with here and grow it into a sustainable income where I could potentially retire when I'm ready, that I will be able to provide for my kids after my death if it was to be, relatively soon. And I just want to make sure that people are aware that these things are out there, that they're commonly done. They're just not commonly taught. And what you'll hear is, it's too risky, right? And your question should be, why is it too risky, right? And if you get, because you live paycheck to paycheck, because you should only put in what you have, and they don't talk to you about credit spreads or 0% credit cards and explain to you the risks, they're not doing you the proper service, right? Are there risks? Absolutely. They are 100% understandable by anybody with a high school degree, maybe even less, right? They're not that complicated. It's just new, and they're not telling you about them. And so I would encourage anybody who's interested, please reach out. I will explain them. Look them up, Google, get on YouTube. But if you're living paycheck to paycheck, financial advisors are not there for you. They're there to grow their assets under management. They are not there to help you better your life, to chase your dreams. Like, what are the risks of being stuck in your life, knowing that just a couple of extra dollars could have got you out of this cycle, right? And that it existed, and you needed no new money for it. All you needed was a monthly budget, and the first step is take care of that credit score, and then a little bit of discipline to make sure that you can roll it over. I have been doing it for years. My mother did it for decades, right? We are not wealthy people. We don't want to be wealthy people. I enjoy my farm. I'm sitting in a garage with 3 sheep, a pig, and 3 goats over there, and my chickens roosting on the wall. This stuff works. It has worked for decades, and the people who know about it use it, and the people use it. And that's what I think is out there, right? If you are living paycheck to paycheck, the important part is understanding 0%, your credit score, and once you get beyond that, it's called a spread. What's my cost to borrow, and what's my estimated income? And I think income investing is perfect for that. You can look at something like SPYI. It indexes the S&P 500. You own the 500 biggest companies, and it pays out 12.5%. If you could borrow at 4%, that means the market could fall 50%, and you are still cash flow positive. As long as you don't have to sell those shares, you are never really in danger of losing money. And as we already talked about in the video, the market goes up and to the right over time. Just to give you an example before I end the video, I took a look at a 59-year period. There are 0 of them, actually, where over 59 years, you wouldn't have had a positive return investing in the S&P 500. Where does 59 come from? It's 18 to 77, right? It's your adult life. Conversely, think of all the times you've been told about college, right? And take out loans. And you need to go to college, right? And that's the way that you can get ahead. At least my generation was told that. 40% of people attend college and drop out. The numbers is somewhere between 30 and 40% of people attend college, drop out with debt. College is a risky proposition. A very risky proposition. You go in there, you give up years of your life for a 60% chance of succeeding to get the degree. Never mind the people that exceeded and are buried in debt. You are way better off if you understood investing, maybe investing for income, and just went to work at 18 and worked hard for about 10 years. You will make more money than most people who go to college. They just don't want you to know that. And so I think you should invest with confidence, knowing that is a significantly less risky adventure than all the hype put into going to college. Not that you shouldn't go to college and not that you shouldn't pursue your educational dreams, but that if you're not investing, everything else is secondary. It is the number one way to get a positive return, to make a difference in your life. And understanding spreads and 0% and free money and cash flow are really all you need to do. And so if you're talking to an advisor, you find one, and they tell you something is risky and they don't explain why it's risky so that you can mitigate that risk, they're doing you a disservice and you should find a new one. Anyways, thanks for listening. Talk to you next time.